dancing. Inspired by what? The king is dancing! 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 I'm moving, air by 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 moving, air. The king is dancing. The king is dancing. Drinking a little champagne, drinking a little champagne, ain't too plain. Drinking a little champagne, drinking a little champagne, ain't too plain, ain't too plain. Outside, inside this maze, I see somehow I lost my way. No place to hide, no place to hide, no place to hide, no place to hide. Varmints, critters over there. Varmints, critters over there. No place to hide, 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 no place to hide. No place, no place, no place to hide. No place, no place, no place, no place to hide. Parole, life without parole, life without, life without, life without, life without, life without, life without, life without parole. Life I see me in sand. I see me looking at sand. Sand looks at my face. Sand looks at my face. Sand looks at my face. Sand looks like my face. Sand looks at my face. And a pebble crawls up my back. The king is dancing, inspired by Thank you.
Excellent, man. Thank you.
Yes.
Oh, grazie, grazie, grazie. Prego, prego, prego.
Super.
I'll do another clap.
We have to overdub so like as many people need.
You need to overdub the clap. Overdub the clap. I'm Lord Doom for John Murphy TV, and today I am with.
Sean Noonan. Nice to meet you.
So, to introduce yourself, tell us a little bit about yourself, Sean.
Well, thank you for inviting me. It's great to see you and for coming down. Basically, I'm just a drummer. I do rhythmic storytelling. I like to combine my voice as a fifth limb in front of the four-limb drum practice. So I treat my voice like it's like another arm. You know, it's sort of a style that I'm sort of developing, and I've been working on that over the last few years.
So would you call yourself a poet as well? Would you say it's poetry, or would you say it's more sort of like theatrical, sort of like theatre?
Yeah, I mean, I work a lot when I'm from New York. I worked a lot with West African and Irish storytellers, and storytelling has been a big part of my creative output, and all the music that I'm working on now has some sort of narrative told within the music somehow. Either it's me performing solo, which I just did earlier, or if it's with doing I do a project with Malcolm Mooney, the singer from Can, and he is like my mentor. He's the poet.
Right.
You know, I mean, I don't call myself a poet really. I'm just, I'm telling stories from behind the drum kit, and this started when I was really young. I did have some plastic surgery, by the way, but when I was really young, I worked with Marnie Nixon. She was a singer from Hollywood. You know, she did The King and I, and I worked in theater. I was a stage drummer, and so I learned how to do performing, playing drums, and I had to do monologues and things like that while I was performing, and I got very comfortable at doing that. And I'm a jazz musician. That's really where I come from, and I was kind of like, oh, why don't I do this concept through my free jazz drumming style? And I thought it would be really entertaining for audiences, and it brings a wider audience. People, I don't get jazz police coming to all of my concerts, you know.
Jazz police.
Yeah, the jazz police. Well,
that's the thing, is it? The
Yeah.
jazz police, is it? Okay. So tell us about how this develops. I mean, tell us your musical background from when you were a child. How did you get into the drums, and how did you sort of like get where you were today? I mean, you've got three brothers, is that right?
Yes, I do.
Are they musical as well?
I come from a family of liars.
Liars?
I mean, I'm sorry, lawyers.
Lawyers? Yeah, it's the same thing, isn't it?
Sorry.
It's not much different.
But I found out that I did a DNA test, and I found out that I'm not from my family, and my father is actually Animal from the Muppets, you know.
Okay, that's very cool.
But actually, I grew up as a child in a swinger club when I was really young. I was abandoned in the swinger club, and then I had to pay off my father's debts. So that's how I learned how, and they made me play drums in the swinger club.
How did your father get into debt?
Because he was spending too much time in the swinger club, you know, and he didn't really, he had a tab, you know, and he skipped town.
Okay, so your father skipped town when he got Does swinger clubs cost money? I didn't even know that. Yeah. Apparently they do. Right.
That's why I moved to this country, because they have the highest capita of swinger clubs in Europe.
Yeah, probably. I wouldn't be surprised about that at all. So that's about it. Now, you must have been involved in your... how old are you, by the way?
in my
You
mind.
can,
I've-
yeah, in your mind.
I'm very young in my mind, but I did have plastic surgery.
Yeah,
And-
tell us about the plastic surgery.
Well, I mean, I would definitely recommend going to Brazil because you can go to the beach after. You know.
So you have plastic surgery in Brazil. You can go to the beach afterwards.
Mm-hmm.
So is it cheap, the plastic surgery in Brazil?
Well, I didn't pay. You know, I skipped town, so that's why I moved here because you know it's hard to you know.
To find you.
They have they don't extradite people from UK to Brazil, if you know that.
So can you tell me why you needed the bloody plastic surgery?
No,
in the first place?
it's just a part of it's just it's no, the music is what's the plastic surgery. The music is what keeps you young. You know.
Well, because basically, funny enough, I was reading something about you, and it said it was there was a connection between sculpture and drums.
Oh yeah.
Can you explain that?
Well, I was doing a project in Dalby Forest, and you know, and it's up in Pickering, up
Okay.
in North Yorkshire, and I was working with a sculptor, Peter Mars, and I was trying to find a way where I could converge rhythm and sound through sculpture, because you know sculpture is three-dimensional art form,
Right.
and so I was just you know experimenting with how, for instance, how you can work with finding different surfaces and different textures, because sculpture is completely different than music. You know,
Right.
it's like a lot of people put you know poetry with music. People put you know paintings and things, and I was thinking like, oh yeah, like what about like a three-dimensional, like could I learn how, because I'm also a composer, you know,
Yeah.
and composition is a big part. Like, can I make like a three-dimensional composition that's almost like sculpting? And the one thing that is common between sculpting and music composition is when you compose music, you're sort of like sculpting sound. You know, you're
Right.
like you're taking like a big blob, like a big bleh, and then you're kind of like you know chiseling things away. And when you write music, you know Gustav Mahler, he was. They would say he would sculpt sound with the orchestra, you know, the way he could make the orchestra sound with all the different textures and things like that, you know. So that's a very interesting. So I worked on a project, and my friends are building a maze. They're building this dry stone wall maze, and it's going to be the largest maze in the world.
Wow.
Mm-hmm.
Really? Where's
Yeah.
that going to be?
It's in Dalby Forest.
Okay. Where's that? What country?
It's not too far from where you know this band, you might be familiar. You know the band Backdoor. It's this group from and Backdoor, and the Beastie Boys actually stole all of their. It was at the time when it's like the rap music before hip hop music. You know, they were sampling. So what they do is they go and they steal some good licks by by this North Yorkshire saxophone trio, and you know they live in the moors, you know,
Okay.
with sheeps and stuff like
Sheep.
that. Yeah. So yeah.
So yeah. Now I heard you wrote a rock opera.
Yes, so I brought it right here. So in terms of the Swinger Club takes place inside the my dedication to Frank Zappa and Edgar Varese,
Yeah.
who was he was the most important inspiration to Frank Zappa. Not the most, but he was a very important inspiration. So I was commissioned to write music in Sardinia for a festival, and it was the 50th anniversary of Zappa, and I'm not, at the time I was not a Zappa person, but I play a lot of music in Europe and Germany, and people always saying like, oh, you like Frank Zappa, and I was like, oh, you know, I didn't really listen to so much Zappa, so I was invited to do something as a dedication to Frank Zappa, so I said, why not do something about a swinger club? Because,
So is
and
that-
I do have pictures of me. I do toilet pictures, by the way. I have some toilet pictures. So they're gonna come out
So
later on.
what's the theme of this rock opera? Is it about swinger clubs? Is that what
It's about a boy who's born in a swinger club, and my father comes, and he's a guitar player. He's in this. We have a fight, and then there's a murder in the swinger club, and Jesus shows up, and Jesus, he brings him back to life.
Okay.
Yeah, it's a true story.
Okay. So tell us about some of the countries you've played in, because you must have played all over the world.
Not all over the world.
Well, no, that,
my
that
helicopter
you
is can only go so far.
Do you have a helicopter?
It depends which day of the week it is, but it usually only
So
works.
if it's Thursday, what sort of a helicopter
It
do you
usually works like Tuesday afternoon. Like I can, that's
Okay.
my time.
have? A Tuesday is the only helicopter day you have? Or-
Yes, yeah, my
Okay.
allocation.
So what countries has this Tuesday helicopter taken you to?
Well, I try to stay away from mountains because it's kind of dangerous.
Yes, well, yes. And so non-mountainous regions, which are...
That's why I came here, because
There's no mountains
yeah,
here, not
yeah.
in London anyway, but there's big buildings, which is probably just as dodgy when you think
Yeah,
about it.
yeah.
You know what I mean? So, yeah. But whereabouts in America do you come from?
Well, actually, inside my drums here, I'm from Boston, and inside here I have a boxing robe here.
Ah, yeah, that's an interesting thing.
So this is the boxing robe. I come from the hometown of Rocky Marciano,
Okay.
and he's the only boxer who was never ever knocked down.
Yeah.
He was the only heavyweight champion.
Wow.
And actually, for instance, like Mike Tyson, he was knocked down.
Yeah,
right?
yeah. Okay.
And Muhammad
He
he was knocked down, but this guy, he was the only guy who was not knocked down. But then he went into a helicopter and it crashed, and then he died.
So you do boxing?
I box the drums.
But
And
do you actually do physical boxing,
I
like real boxing?
box these drums, and sometimes the drums win, and sometimes I win. So it's the only reason
So-
I got the boxing ropes because sometimes I have to take my clothes off,
Okay,
and if
okay.
I have to change my outfit. And,
So is it how's it go? Is it a 50-50 with the drums, or do you think you win more or the drums win more?
some depends on yeah, that's a good question. Yeah, sometimes I win, sometimes I lose,
Okay, so
Yeah.
so you say what 50-50?
No, I think I'm more like I'm 12-2.
12 and 2.
Yeah.
I'm not sure what
12
that
and 2.
bloody means, but
12 wins, 2 losses.
never mind. Now you must have.
But no, we have different seasons,
seasons.
Yeah, well, season. This is season 25. But it depends which year. If, like, for instance, in 2016, I only lost 3 matches and I won 15. But during the pandemic, I was very good. I was very good. But then I had depression one year when my girlfriend broke up with me.
Okay.
Yeah, and so I was like.
I would call that a bonus myself.
I was like 8-8. I was like 6-6 that year or something. Yeah.
Okay, so that's cool now.
But it's more of like a philosophy. It's not really a competition. I'm not competing against my instrument. It helped me have this idea that this instrument, I'm playing against gravity, basically.
Yeah.
Like the drumsticks, everything with drums works with gravity, and whatever reaction that the drums give me, I have to
Physics.
yeah, to react with it.
Okay.
And a lot of the stuff that I try to do on the instrument is more of it's intuitive, and because I'm improvising.
So what's the best place you ever played? Country.
The Silo Studios,
The what?
No, the best place, I don't want to say anything, but It's the place I haven't played yet. It's the yeah.
Okay, so it's basically you haven't played at the best place yet.
No,
or-
I've played in many great places. I'm very fortunate.
Can you name any?
I mean, Madison Square Garden.
You played at Madison. Now that's the one. So tell us about when you played at Madison Square
Well,
Garden.
I mean, it was like in the lobby of Madison Square Garden, and there was like, it was like this huge Halloween party. It was really.
So it was in the lobby. It wasn't actually at the Square Garden.
There was all different lobbies, and they had all these different bands that were playing all in Madison Square Garden.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. So
And I played in a coal mine and 2 kilometers underground, like under the earth, and
Where was that?
coal mine
in Poland, yeah.
Poland.
Yeah.
A coal mine in Poland.
Hmm.
Well, that sounds like a big deal. Right? I mean, did you have a big audience there, or how
I
did
mean,
that work out? I
yeah,
mean, did you
I-
sort of like come to the coal mine? How far down was it?
It was like 1 kilometer underground, and
So it was a
I
kilometer
actually did
underground.
this record. It's called Memorable Sticks.
Yeah, right.
And this is about the salt mine in Poland. They have a salt mine in Poland, which is from the 13th century, and so I like to play underground, you know.
Okay, so yeah.
I also like to play on
so,
boats.
So
you
you
know.
are really like an underground
Yeah,
artist.
literally.
Right, literally. Yeah.
No pun intended.
Yeah, yeah.
This one's called Memorable Sticks. It's with a piano trio, and I like to collect stories and do
cool.
storytelling.
Yeah.
So all the pieces on this record are about the stories that the miners would say, you know,
Okay.
like work songs. And underground, there are lots of spirits that protect them, prevent them from getting hurt from accidents. And also there's special different rituals that they do to help them find where the salt, because these people are salt miners, and during the 13th century, salt is like it's almost like
Gold.
well, more than gold. It's almost like what people need to today to buy to make batteries and cell phones, and
especially ground salt, because it
Yeah.
contains natural iodine. Obviously,
Yeah.
so ground salt's got to be better
Yeah.
than like sea salt or whatever. So you've obviously been playing for a long time. So tell us about some of the most interesting people you've ever played with.
Well, I did this project. It's called Boxing Dreams, and this is when I was living in New York, and I worked with a griot singer from Mali. His name is Abdoulaye Djabate, and he's a Malian singer.
Okay.
And in New York, there are a lot of West African musicians and drumming, and I, as being a drummer, I love West African music, and the drumming. It's really inspired me to write a lot of music, and I got I did some projects with all these crazy people in New York. So I combined Irish singing, Gaelic singing with Bambara singing, which is Malian language, griot music together, and this was
Griot,
like,
is that sort of storytelling as well?
yes,
Yeah.
a griot. It's like a praise singer, like someone who makes the music for the kings and and funerals, and they also help mediate things. And, this is something that you do if you come from a family that like a caste system.
So tell us about.
Almost like it's like a bard. Like bardic traditions are similar.
Have you been to West Africa?
Yeah, I went to Mali. Yeah, it was really fun.
And yeah, so can you tell us a bit about what happened out there?
Well, so my friend, he sent a car from New York to Guinea on a cargo container ship, and it was filled with drums and everything. And so we flew to Bamako, and then we were gonna go to pick up the car, but then the president died, and it was a coup. So, and then my friend, he just left me in the middle of nowhere, like in the middle of this bus station. So I was all by myself, And so, you know, he was like, "See you later, hasta la vista, baby." But he went to go get his car, but his friend, someone stole the car, and they sold everything.
Oh, really?
Yeah, and then he was like, "Oh, he always calls me Poppy, you know, like
Okay.
father," and I'm like 20 years younger than him. He's like, "Oh, Poppy, Poppy, Poppy." Oh, no, it's so bad. I don't have anything, and so I didn't go with him on that journey. So I stayed in Mali, and then, yeah.
Okay, so any other interesting places you've had? And other interesting places?
Well, I was in Switzerland. I did this concert, and I played in the highest part of one of the highest places in Poschiavo. It's like they call it the end of the world.
Wow.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So they have this valley, and it was isolated. You know, it's the Italian part of Switzerland. You know.
Okay, yeah.
And basically, it's the most difficult place to ever hook up with anyone.
Wow.
Because they, you know, I mean, the people are very friendly, but it's like they are very like, even people who are from Switzerland that moved there, they cannot make relationships with anyone from this area because it's like really like, oh, you're not from that part of Switzerland, you know.
Okay. So
Yeah.
So you've been playing sort of like So you've been playing. So where you sort of like where would you like to go in the future? Where would you where would you like your art? Because we'll have to call it art. We can't. I don't. Yeah, I'd say it's more art. Would you say it was more art than music? Would you say you were an artist?
I don't really. That's not my job, you know.
Yeah.
I don't want to sit here and say, "Oh, this is the." I don't want to define. I don't like to make. I think making labels and categories is the worst thing.
Okay.
You know, but of course, this is good for the business people and marketing and.
So where would you like to go in the future?
Well, I mean, I'm doing my next project is, I'm a little bit behind schedule, but I have to write a piece with orchestra, and I've never done that. I made, 2 days ago, I looked at my calendar, I was like, oh, shit, 6 months from today, I have to record with the London Symphony Orchestra. And then I realized that I didn't really write any music yet. And it's like I'm looking at. I just have like some like scribbles on a piece of paper, like notes, like, you know, things like for instance, like things that say like I make a voice memo to myself, like okay, you know. So this is what I'm going to write. Yeah. This is what the orchestra piece was.
Set the hammer. Set the hammer. Set the hammer free. Set the hammer.
I suppose it's got to be better than reading music off a piece of paper.
Do you think if I give it to orchestra, do you think they'll understand it?
Oh yeah, well, they're bound to. You know, they're decent musicians. I'm sure they can sort of like come to them. So you know, it's how did you get involved with the orchestra?
Oh, it was a
Well, that's
bad.
quite-
There's it's like mafia. You know, they come and they say, come here, you have no choice. You have to write. You have to write some music for us because we need some new
So,
people.
are they Italian?
No, they're. It's like they. I think they're friends with the Brexit people. You know. No.
So
I met some really cool people, and I had an opportunity to write something with orchestra. So I really was like, oh, this would be really fun to do.
and then you found you were hijacked by the music mafia, and maybe it was it as much fun as you thought it would be?
Yeah, it's a lot of work. It's tremendous amount. If in order to be a composer, you don't. The best thing is not to have any friends, and
It'd
because
be easy for me.
because no, it's important because you have to spend so much time and working on writing the music, and for me, I enjoy working on all those things, but so I'm writing like a drum kit concerto. So my idea is to put the drum set at the front of the stage, in front of the orchestra, they have violin concertos and
Yeah.
piano. Why not have a drum kit concerto? So that's
Okay,
the
well, yeah,
But
yeah.
then I found out that someone did that. I was like, shit.
Oh, really?
No.
And so I said, okay, I'm gonna do a speaking drummer concerto. And then I looked it up. It's like, did anyone do this? And it's like, no one's done it. But you can only release this interview until after I finish writing it, because maybe someone's gonna be like, be the first person. It's not about being the first,
So do you ever do any session work?
I'm 2 and 2.
Yeah.
Do you do any session work? Have you ever done any session work, or would you find that boring, or would you just?
I'm not really invited to those things anymore.
Funny enough. Probably,
Next question.
Probably everybody in this room never gets invited anywhere either. You know what I mean? That's. But it's like, okay. Next question would be okay. Tell us the craziest thing that ever happened in your music career.
Ooh, I mean, this is. I don't want to say this. This is a family show, right?
Yeah, no, it's all right. Don't
Not
worry
really.
about that. Not really. Anything you want. Just come out. We don't care how crazy it is.
I mean, there's too many. Well, the craziest thing that happened to me personally was, I was with my band and we were doing a 2-month tour, and this is in 2003, and we did 45 or 40 something gigs in 2 months and drove
Wow.
all over Europe. We drove like 15,000 kilometers, and we were in Italy near Milan, and the next day we were playing in Sicily, and we were driving, and a drunk driver hit me driving the car, and the car hit the on the highway, hit the wall, and I broke my legs and 14 places,
Oh wow!
Yeah, so they were like popping out.
Oh my
Gee.
goodness
Yeah.
me! Oh dear!
So
That is bad.
and then they were breaking they came out like this and that. So
The next question was going to be the worst thing that happened to you, but we forget that. That was probably it.
well, I mean, it was crazy because I know it was a transformative experience because I was 27. And you know how it's like, when you're that age, you feel you're invincible and nothing can, nothing
Yeah,
can
of
stop.
course. Yeah, everybody
and,
does.
And also you don't appreciate what you have,
Exactly.
You don't,
I agree with that entirely.
and also you don't appreciate time, know what I'm saying, like being in the moment, and those sort of things. So it made me understand that it's important to be in, to be in the moment and not try to be thinking about the future all the time and or the past, or
So do you think that improved your music, or do you think that improved it? Do you think that was probably the making of you musically?
Yeah, it changed. I mean, I was in a band at the time, and then I decided to focus on my own projects, and I was mostly playing drums.
Yeah.
And then I started to write music, and this is before I was doing any storytelling. I wasn't doing any vocal. I was just playing more like punk jazz kind of music.
So tell us about some of the other bands you've been in.
Well, I mean, that was the only one,
Oh, you've only
yeah,
ever
it was. It's one of the questions you asked was about the hub, and maybe there's one CD here.
Was that your first band?
Yes, this is the band that
That's
I
the
was.
last by the sounds of it.
Yeah, this is the band that that's how I met. That's how I met the people here at Silo, because the Rick, who's friends with Dave, the drummer, I met him in 2005, and we just kept in touch, and that's the great thing about touring. You meet people all over the place.
I could imagine, yeah.
Tell us about some of your musical influences. What might and it doesn't have to be musical influence. Just tell me about some of your influence. What things have influenced you in your life. It doesn't have to just be musical, because obviously I can't just say musical because you're about more than musical. So let's just say some of your influences.
Well, I mean, it started very, very specific when you're younger. I was really into playing, drumming. And I don't want to name drummers because if I say one drummer is, then it's not fair about all the other guys. And then I get like all these really, these emails, hate mails, like we're gonna kill you, like
I'm sure
like,
it happens a
like
lot, yeah.
I mean, this is a anti-Phil Collins group out there that I'm working with, and they say, well, yeah, but you're supposed to
Is there such a thing as an anti-Phil Collins group? I'm sure there is, actually, to be honest.
If not, why not?
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, it's it starts just with everyone really soul searching inside what they do. But now for me, it's like I want to. For now, I want to do like. Dave's gonna help me with my stand-up comedy, for instance.
Now that's very interesting to me. So carry on, yeah. So let's talk about your stand-up comedy.
And one of my friends that I work with, he's also he's a cabaret musician, and he does clowning. He went to clown school, and also now I'm really into like mathematics and
I don't know where we've gone from stand-up comedy to mathematics. Bit of a jump here. So how does stand-up comedy and mathematics actually connect there?
I mean, it just doesn't add up,
Let's cut it there.
Oh shit! I walked right into that one, didn't I? Tell us about your stand-up comedy. I'm hiccuping there.
Well, I mean,
stand-up comedy and how you got involved in stand-up comedy and what stand-up comedy means for you and what you're trying to achieve for your comedy.
Well, I mean, it's more of like using the the typical Johnny Carson coming, late night television, coming on stage and telling the joke, and then in the background it's like, this sort of things happen. And I was like, hey, well, why don't you have comedians playing drums? Like, it's perfect. It's like a perfect thing. Like, if you get stuck on a joke or something, you can just start like just hitting the drums and just going crazy. It's totally like. And it's also about being the great thing about drums. It's really a very liberating instrument, and people think of it as being sort of very unmusical, and people that play drums are not musicians. They always say like, who's someone who hangs out with a musician or drummer, like things like that, But are there any keyboard players out there?
No.
Okay, good.
Because
I have one keyboard joke, but I won't say.
Do you know any drummer jokes?
And I just said one.
Is that it? Is it?
But in terms of doing comedy, it's just something that it's something that's interesting right now. But I'm really excited about. Do you know this man Rupert Sheldrake? No. He's into this thing called morphic resonance, where it's like everything on this earth is all about habits. It's not about laws, and birds and creatures can send messages. We have a special power to like telepathic messages we can send across. And everything is the structures of the earth are all through different habits that we've created, or what animals and organisms have developed. So those are things that I'm.
Do you think these days, though, that you can't actually express yourself with comedy as you used to be able to? There's lots of things you can't say which you should be able to say. Do you think that affects comedians in general?
Sure. Yeah. Well, I mean, I feel bad for being. I mean, the great thing about playing music is that it's such a pure form. Like, for instance, like acting is all about lying. Like, you're not yourself when you're acting. You're being something. And one thing which I think a lot of people are very envious are about what musicians are doing. It's much more. I'm not saying it's better. It's just a different way of channeling what you do. You're expressing yourself in some sort of form that is very in a spiritual way that is a little bit different than no offense, stand-up comedy.
Yeah. But it's like, well,
I'm not saying that comedy's not like a spiritual thing, but there's something because I don't. That's something that I want to try to understand, and just like you asked me about sculpture, for instance,
Okay, so basically, do you think people take comedy literally these days? When you say something, they don't see the joke in it, and they say you said this or whatever. Do you think that's a problem with comedy?
Yeah, of course. I mean, it becomes difficult when you can't say certain. Language is changing and culture's changing, and there's certain things that are appropriate to, like, being my age. There were some things that people use certain words when I was younger that you don't use that don't exist now, or they're not appropriate. And now we have new words for different things. I mean, and now with AI, everything's going to change. There's going to be all these new things that are going to, But that's just the way it works.
You'll be doing it something you never did in the first place because a computer just take over. Do you think computers will be good taking over comedy, or do you think?
No, they're very good at making like really bad jokes. So if I get like stuck on something, I can get like some very good jokes out of AI, but I know that I cannot get. It's not possible to really compose or generate music through. I think through AI, it would be very, very, very difficult because there's a soul and there's a spirit inside of that. You can do that with you can do that with visual art. Malcolm Mooney, the poet that I work with, the singer, he's also a painter. And they're taking AI's regenerating. You can tell, you can see through that. But eventually, it will be difficult. But it's impossible to do. AI could never do what I do because this is acoustic music. So it's not possible. I'm an electronic musician.
AI comedy is obviously soulless, and basically they're going to do it with music. I heard Johnny Cash doing Barbie Girl, and it sounded like he did it. You know what I mean? And basically, at the end of the day, do you think? Do you think the future, the digital future of music will be completely soulless?
Well, I mean, do you ever heard of the 1980s?
Yeah.
I'm just joking. No, I mean, I don't know. I mean, this is like a very absurd question, completely soulless, I mean, of course not. I don't think it's possible.
So even AI.
But
music,
I mean, it's.
Do you think even AI music would have some sort of soul in it?
Of course not.
No, that's what I'm saying.
Yeah.
What
I mean, every time I went to a karaoke bar, I wanted to jump off a bridge after. But there was some soul. There was lots of soul in that room. Like everyone was singing their hearts out and singing about I mean that's a complete different thing.
So do you think AI computer generated will be the end of spontaneous comedy and music?
Spontaneous comedy and music.
Yeah, well, it's gonna go into everything, isn't it?
I mean,
basically, you'll have films with no actors in eventually if they claim to do what they say. So how would you view that in the future?
I mean, they might be able to make another Whiplash movie through AI,
Okay. All right.
And they can have more blood coming out of his fingers when they're forcing him to do play faster. But I don't think that would be a problem with music. Now they're having a big strike with the actors in Hollywood about all this, but the thing with music is that we've already been screwed over because of streaming and Spotify, and the amount of royalties that you get from streaming it's ridiculously low. Even like a great artist, a very popular artist who has millions of plays doesn't get anything compared to someone who's like working in television and movies and whatnot. So that battle has already been sort of lost in some way. So there's got to be some sort of reform. At least in the European Union, they did make some new rules with YouTube that they have to give some royalties for people playing music of other people on YouTube and whatnot, you know. So, because everyone's just getting everything for free, you know. So that's why this is your time to go to my website and buy every single CD there.
You
Go
get
to
this, John?
SeanNoonanMusic.com.
Okay.
And if you say, oh, I don't have a CD player, guess what? I have a record player.
Wow.
7-inch vinyl.
I take it it's on it's on digital.
Oh, I don't have a record player. Oh, guess what? You can download it.
Wow, there you go. Well, that's great.
I don't
Anything-
listen to music. I only read.
Oh, have you
guess
got a
what?
book?
We have books.
No.
Yes, I have a book, but it's
Wow, you
It's
thought
like-
of everything. You should be a multi-millionaire by next week, I reckon, at the rate
It's-
you're going.
Yep.
Now, I'm coming to the end of my questions, so basically, I would ask John. John, is there any questions you'd like to ask, Mr.
Would you tell us a bit about the Pavi's music?
Yes.
Pavi's dances?
Yeah, Pavi's Dance. This is a project that I did with Malcolm Mooney and Jamaluddin Nkuma and the guitarist Aaron Bajakian. And it was just like, it's a crazy story because I didn't know Malcolm, and I met him through a friend of mine, and we just went, we met online. I contacted him and said, I want to do a recording. And then we did one rehearsal for 4 hours. And then that same day we played a gig, and this is in New York. And then the next day we recorded.
Wow.
So it was like everything was done
You
in like
just
24 hours.
made it up, played the gig, and then sort of like.
And I was
recorded
thinking
it.
like, this is either going to be a complete disaster, like you know, like I don't even know, I never met this person, or I don't know, these people haven't met these people, and the music that I had written, I don't know if it's even going to work, if people can play it. So it was sort of like just taking a big
Do you
chance.
think it's better to do something like that with it? We're talking
Yeah,
about spontaneity.
of course,
so basically,
absolutely.
Do you think, because basically we're talking about AI taking spontaneity out of it. So you think that makes the spontaneity? Do you think it's more exciting to you, or like
Absolutely.
risk taking and stuff like that?
Yeah. I mean, I think my advice for people who make music is always take chances, and if there's nothing wrong with something not working out. If something doesn't work out, it's not a bad thing. It's actually a good thing, because you can take that and then develop it into something different. You know, like you can, you know, if you're a real musician, you know, you will always like, your brain would be like, oh, I can take this and recycle this thing and use this for something different, you know. But I think if you're being really, if you over rehearse, if you're gonna be in a band, you're gonna over practice, and then like go in the studio, and then like, oh, we're gonna overdub everything, and then we're gonna sit down and then edit everything, and then think about things over and over and over. I mean, come on. You know?
Yes, I understand that. I mean, it's sort of like.
What would you reckon is your best recording so far?
The next one. No, the first one. No, I always say it's this one, and this recording, and this one. No, all the recordings that.
What's your first one?
On the first one, I don't have here. It's in New York right now. But this one, this is like a. For instance, this is a CD and DVD. It's all live music with
Is
New
that
York.
you?
Yes.
Did you have a haircut? Or
Yeah,
did you have a hairdresser?
I decided to shave before.
Oh wow!
Yeah.
Looks like a completely different person.
I know. I mean, this is like,
When was that?
This is in 2008. Yeah. And then this is music that I did with Ligeti String Quartet. So it's a little bit. This is instrumental music, you know.
Wow.
But I mean, there are good things and bad things that come out of things, and I'm not one of these people who are like, just delete everything and start all over. I mean, of course, you know, if something's like going to be horrible, of course, but that hasn't happened yet. So,
No, that's cool.
yeah.
Yeah. So, any more questions? John?
Yeah, you're doing the tour, starting a tour. Where are you going?
Oh no, I'm doing a new trio with actually here Matthew Bourne. He's a piano player from Leeds, and we had a duo back in 2011, and we're gonna play in a trio at the Jazz Live at the Crypt in October.
What date
So
in October?
that is on Friday, October. I think it's the 28th. It's the last Friday. It's the Friday. It's not Halloween, because on Halloween all the bodies are coming out of the crypt.
That's the best time to play there.
Yeah, I think it's on the 27th. Is it?
Do you like Halloween? It's, yeah, do you like Halloween? What do you think of Halloween? You see it as, you know, because it's a big thing in America. It's not so big.
I mean, you can. I don't. I like to do the to go to the other world, you know, and to go into the House of Dawn. You know, this is the secret place in Ireland where all the spirits travel.
Okay.
Yeah,
Have you been there a lot?
I haven't died yet. Oh no, I did die, but I came. I did die, but I came back to life. That was in 2003. So
Okay.
that is the date. It's the 27th of October.
27.
So I hope to see you there.
Yes, quite possible.
It'll be the first time I'm playing with this new trio. So,
What's the name of the band?
it hasn't been. It's
No name.
It's nameless.
Nameless. So you're going to.
It's like it's growing like inside my body right now.
Okay.
Like it's gonna be like alien.
That'd be great. If the whole band bursts out of your body, I'll be in the front row.
Yeah.
Wearing a Rain Macintosh, you know what I mean? Like that. But yeah, cool. You know what I mean? That'd be great. Yeah, but no. We'd all love to see that.
Yeah, definitely come.
Yeah. And any more questions? Because I know you've got a lot, John.
Oh yeah, but I've forgotten them all, man.
Oh God, you know what I mean? Yeah.
Yeah.
You keep saying,
Tell us a bit about your Irish influences.
Oh no! I mean, I really like potatoes.
potatoes are good. You can do a lot with a potato.
Yes,
You
exactly.
can even actually make them into musical instruments.
But
Did
just
you know
don't
that?
eat them raw. They're very dangerous.
Well, you think I used to eat raw potatoes and not.
And then look at him, he's all right.
But it's like, I saw somebody make one into a sort of like flute type thing once. It was quite interesting how they did it. You know what I mean? But actually, it could get actually music out of a potato, which is cool, I think.
Okay.
Yeah. You obviously didn't see that documentary.
No.
But never mind.
No.
Right. Right, okay, well that's it. So it's been lovely talking to you, Sean.
Likewise.
And we're going to wrap it up here, and that was brilliant.
Thank
very
you.
much.
I hope to see you in October.
We will be there in the front row with our Macintoshes on.
Yes.
Yeah. Thank you very much.
Cheers.
Cheers, son. Thank you kindly, man.
Thank you, guys.